is a man you can trust, and that's why I came today. I haven't talked to him or seen him for years. I followed his record. This is not a real politician. This is a people person, and by God, we've got to get behind him.
Byron Baer has spent his entire life fighting for people and against special interests. Along the way, he has shown remarkable courage, commitment to human rights, and unquestionable integrity. From his early days in the civil rights movement, fighting for justice in the Deep South, few people know that Byron spent 45 days in a Mississippi jail after being arrested as one of the original Freedom Riders in 1961. He marched through Alabama and Georgia with Martin Luther King Jr., and years later became a leader in the fight for justice and desegregation in Inglewood.
In the 60s, during the great marches, Mr. Baer was on the Selma March. I never saw him because I was in the road. But as we came back to the great tents, we looked up and he was climbing up there doing the lighting for the great tents that the marchers used at night to sleep in.
I think Assemblyman Baer's civil rights background often finds its way into his thinking here in the legislature. And oftentimes when we address issues of human rights and concerns, you can tell he's someone who's really experienced it and been in the fight before he ever got to the legislature. And that has helped shape and colored his views here in this House.
Byron walked away from a lucrative film and movie production career to become one of New Jersey's few full-time state legislators. Assemblyman Baer continued to demonstrate the same courage and commitment when his investigative team exposed terrible abuses of migrant farm workers in South Jersey. Byron led the team right to the scene, and he didn't back away when the goons came out. They broke Byron's arm that day, but they couldn't stop him from continuing to take photographs documenting the evidence of their brutality. Byron Baer has always been ready to stand and fight for basic human rights. He was an early champion of laws protecting the rights of women, minorities, tenants, and many others who needed a powerful voice. Byron's Ethnic Terrorism Act was the first law of its kind in America and quickly became a national model, copied by many other states.
We think he's wonderful. I think he's wonderful. He's a great advocate for tenants, for women, and he's a wonderful person, and I hope he's my next senator.
Byron Baer is a champion for women's rights and all people.
Byron is known as a fearless fighter for the people. He's not a tool of the special interests. In fact, Byron is not afraid to anger those special interests. We think of Byron as a very independent and effective legislator.
Byron Baer is best known for his remarkable record of accomplishment as a state legislator. Byron wrote the Toxic Catastrophe Prevention Act that won a national award and that the New Jersey Environmental Federation called the best state environmental legislation in the nation, and called Byron a champion for the environment, willing to stand up to polluters. Byron is also a sponsor of numerous other key laws protecting our environment, including the Clean Air Act and the Right to Know Act. He has won more environmental endorsements than any other New Jersey state assemblyman. Byron's most heralded accomplishment is New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, the Sunshine Law, that forces government to meet and conduct all business in public. Common Cause calls the law the legislature's most significant accomplishment in opening government to public scrutiny. Government reform and ethics continues to be a prime focus of Byron's work in the legislature today. The Campaign Finance Reform Bill, signed by Governor Florio earlier this month, involved 3 years of solid work by Byron Baer. During that time, Byron was also a sponsor of many other important new laws that tighten restrictions on lobbyists, increase financial disclosure, and fight conflict of interest and ethics problems. Consumer protection is yet another key area where Byron Baer has had a tremendous impact. His Truth in Pricing Act and unit pricing law were major breakthroughs that forced food and retail stores to give consumers the information they need to compare prices and true costs. Byron is also a sponsor of the Real Estate Fraud Act, the Pharmaceutical Assistance for the Aged Act, the country's first utility lifeline credit, new laws protecting private pensions, the Generic Drug Act, the New Jersey Public Advocate's Office, and important property tax relief efforts like the homestead rebate. And no legislator has ever done more to protect tenants' rights. Byron wrote laws like the Truth in Renting Act and the No Cause, No Eviction Act, prompting the New Jersey Tenants Organization to name him Tenant Legislator of the Decade. Byron's outstanding record of national leadership fighting for consumers led him to become the only state legislator in America to serve on Ralph Nader's National Consumer Congress, and the Trenton Times to call Byron the legislature's most outspoken friend of consumers. And all of Byron's outstanding accomplishments prompted the Record to call him a bright, forceful, tireless advocate of progressive legislation.
Byron Baer has been able to work effectively with members of both houses of the legislature for his entire career. He is a man who cares about people, and he gets the job done.
Byron Baer is a people's champion, and I'm proud to support him.
Everyone knows Byron. I mean, everybody who has any association with the legislature. I'm talking about government people, appointed officials, lobbyists, the general public, the news media. Everybody knows Byron Baer, and everybody knows him to be one of the truly outstanding legislators in the state of New Jersey.
Byron Baer is a true public servant. You really don't find politicians like him anymore.
My assessment of Byron is that he's always been a productive guy, very concerned with issues that affect people, very concerned with individual rights, always knowledgeable about the issues that affect us. His particular expertise, really, in addition to his broad sense of where government should be, is his refinement and concerns with election law enforcement and those issues that give people the right to be heard by governmental agencies.
We have open government in New Jersey now because of Byron Baer's Sunshine Law.
I think that Byron Baer has the capacity and has demonstrated that capacity when he's not only in terms of the legislations that he's introduced, but he's a very constituent-oriented individual. He believes in the common man. He believes that the average person is usually forgotten in legislation.
Byron's extensive experience and brilliant career makes it clear that he is Senator Mattie Feldman's natural successor. Byron Baer is the stronger candidate from every conceivable standpoint. His reputation for unquestionable integrity has clearly won him the trust and support of District 37 voters. Byron Baer has spent his entire life working for people and against special interests. His integrity and his lifetime of accomplishment make him the clear choice to succeed Mattie Feldman in the state Senate. Byron Baer isn't just asking for your support, he's earned it.